I'm here with Peter Gregory, first from First Choice Business Brokers, and I've got a question for him. Peter, when a business owner reaches out to you, and what are the questions you ask to determine if that business is ready for sale?
Yeah, thanks, Len. We probably have common experience with the same types of clients that we're maybe working with. And we normally do a digital advertising push. So I'll answer part of the question has to do with why are they calling me? What point are they contacting me? Could be through a referral through you, but when they do contact me, there's something among the mass of companies that they for themselves recognize they need to do something about an exit plan for their business. So I need to find out who, one of the most important questions when I first ask is why are you leaving? Because that's buyer's question. I'm always thinking of what I can take down as a note here, and it saves me time when I start lining things up to explain to a buyer. And I tell the seller that, I said this is just a casual conversation. It might lead to me doing a market price analysis and figure out what a real good listing price for you might be. But just about the first question all the time from buyers, why are they selling? So I usually get, either early retirement or, regular people in their 60s, 70s selling a business. They've built a legacy and it's paid for kids to go to college and whatnot. And I try to get that personal level. We deal First Choice, my office, we deal at a very personal level here. We take that into consideration. And as you know, in your business and mine, we end up sometimes being therapists as well as business advisors in that. But really, it's why are you selling? And then we'll get on to whether it's profitable, what the trend has been. Of course, I want to have an easily sellable business when I work with them, and a little bit of their history. Of course, we're speaking now in 2025 at this point, and many of the companies that we have probably survived the big COVID time frame and see what they did to do that. We're talking to the ones that thrived, hopefully through that, found a new recipe. But after that, it just gets into some details about when they want to sell. That's pretty important to me. Do I have up to 9 months or a year to work with them? It could take a full month from from that phone call when I'm talking to them to actually even get them listed. So I'm thinking about the whole timeline while that goes on.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's one of the first questions I ask when I work with a business owner is, why are you selling? Because I know that that's something a buyer is going to ask, and an answer along the lines of I'm going to travel or I'm going to play golf are not good answers, right? I'm sure that's an immediate one for you where you say, yeah, we need to come up with something better.
Yeah, that's right. And I have one right now, a company that I have an offer on right now, and time this week, hopefully it'll drop and we get moving on that one. And in that, this gentleman really runs his company very well, and he does want to do some charitable work and travel, but he built toward that, and he had built his company to be taking a lot of cash out. And this is a case where he's retiring, but in his 50s. He's drawn out enough. I'm sure he's protected. He's invested in other things like real estate and wherever else. So you want to get an overall perspective of it, and then maybe for you too to get a bit of a picture. Like one question that I do get into is there anybody close to you within arm's reach that has ever talked to you about buying the business, or anybody that you have in mind that you would talk to early about this and see how much they've thought about it? The more they've thought about the buyer and what their questions are, the better for me. They've started to sort out what a buyer's perspective of their business may be.
Yeah, perfect. And again, I one of the things I do with clients is talk about the range of options. It isn't just selling, there are other options, but you're hitting on a key point, which is the communication, right? The more that the business owner is communicating with their family, with their employees, the better, in my opinion.
And that's right. You actually touched on one of the core things, those first conversations to get that personal level is who else is in the decision process, unofficially or officially in there, is who are you sharing your decisions with? And that really helps to understand. And quite often it's couples. Most of my businesses right now, it's a married couple that, actually came together on this and they work together. They're usually the spouse is in the business, usually doing books. That's usually the main objective there. So everything's under a roof, especially financially speaking.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking a run at that question.
No, that's good. That's good.
Appreciate it.